this is Beatmaking episode 10. We're starting right now. Today we're gonna finish the drop, export it to an MP3 and finally use a VSTi. This could be a lengthy episode, so get ready. Okay, first of all, let's figure out the drop. We'll go one by one. First, let's make the beat. We're gonna add 2 pattern tracks. Let's grab in a hi-hat sample. I like this one. As usual, what you pick is up to you. We're gonna make this the first pattern, and this the second one. The second one is the same as the first one, except the last bar is silent. Why do this, you say? Usually, when the last bar or so is without drums, it creates tension. Listen to the build-up of any EDM song and you will understand. We're gonna use this in the drop, however, so essentially it will serve as a way to introduce some elements. You'll see what I mean pretty soon. Place them here. We'll have a 1-bar stop between the build-up and the drop. It's good for tension. Anyways, drums are done. What next? Now let's plan out all the chords. First of all, grab that same verse chords pattern. Delete every second chord so it looks like this, or just remake it from scratch so it looks like that. However, this is far from what our rhythm will be. Let's copy these bass notes on the pattern and place them in the bass guitar. Note that you have to use the shortcuts. They're Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. Now, move these notes up 2 octaves. There's a shortcut for that too. Ctrl+A to select all, then Ctrl and up arrow to move it up an octave. And yes, Ctrl and down arrow will move it down an octave. What do the left and right arrows do? Try it out yourself. Anyways, let's create a new pattern for the strings. Place it in like this. It's just the bass notes played in a high octave. They serve as fillers to the drop. Anyways, copy over these patterns till they're like this. Let's also grab the ethereal pattern from the beginning and place it here. Sweet, the side chain is easy. Remember the pattern I made for the build-up last time? It's the exact same one. If you made a different pattern, this is what I made. Duplicate it so it covers the drop. Alright, next up we need some supersaws. What are supersaws? Usually loud, noisy, and massive saw waves. You hear them less often in pop music nowadays. If you listen to the drop of High on Life, that's what I mean. Obviously, that's just one form of supersaws, but you get the idea. Anyways, we already have a supersaw for our lead, but I want a supersaw to play some chords for me. So let's go and grab this preset here. Now we're gonna improve the sound a little bit. First of all, add a delay effect. I hope you know how to set it up. Next up, add a low pass filter. We'll be automating the knob, so keep it at the maximum for now. Finally, go to the stacking tab and set up stacking with a range of 2. Here's how to do it. To see what this does, press a key on this keyboard. As the range is 2, it plays the same note an octave higher too. If you extend the range, it'll play the same note in more octaves. Cool, right? Okay, now let's make the pattern. Hit Ctrl and A. Now, after this, you're gonna have to ensure you don't lose the selection. If you do, you'll have to start over or reselect everything. So follow me step by step. First, pull any note from the right, such that it looks like this. Hold Shift and drag that note to this place. Hold Shift and do that again. Okay, now we're gonna need 1/32 notes. So set the Q value to 132. If it's set to 116, you can just click on the text, it will change to 132. Right click and it will change back. You can also similarly change the zoom. Anyways, shift drag here. Now pull it from the right and make it like so. Shift drag and place it here. Now finally shift drag it here and pull it from the right to make it like so. Hit play if you want, it's a pretty nice rhythm. Now let's move some notes around. Let's grab this C note and make it A sharp. Make this D sharp an F, this D sharp a C, and this G a G sharp. There, and now it's a little less boring. How did I know what to move? I didn't. I literally moved random end notes to random positions till I got something good sounding. This isn't the best approach, but when you just need to get that song done, this is your best bet. Anyways, you can right click your zoom and Q values back. Set them to the 100% and 1/16 that they were. Now make this ring cover the drop too. Grab this pattern onto our lead too. Why? Because this one supersaw alone sounds too empty. Our lead just so happens to be a supersaw too, so we'll use it to fill up the sound. And also add that reverb. Control and drag it to these 2 spaces. Now duplicate one to the beginning of the drop and double click on it. Select all by hitting Ctrl and A and look at these faders here. These faders are for adjusting the volume of each note. Since we selected all the notes, you can grab any fader and move it down to around 30%. Take this modified pattern and place it here. Okay, why do we do this? Remember when I said the drum sounds can be used to introduce new elements? A louder supersaw is that element. The supersaw is first quiet and becomes loud after the drum silence. That should explain it. Oh, and don't forget to route this new supersaw to our sidechain mixer. Okay, let's add something into our build-up. Control and drag this pattern into the build-up. If you open the supersaw's instrument window, it conveniently has that same frequency knob we know and love. So let's use it. Add an automation track and automate it like so. You can see that it only rises to the original value right before the drop. This means that even at the end of the build-up, it's not fully open. It's a nice technique you can use in EDM songs with massive drops. And really, there doesn't always have to be a reason why you use something. If it sounds good and it fits, use it by all means. There's probably going to be music theory explaining why it fits, but music is all about expression and freedom. So if you feel like that's exactly why you need it, you don't need another reason to use it. Okay, rant done. Now let's make this quick riser. It's really simple to make one. Grab any open hi-hat sample. I'm going to use this one. Drag it in and open the instrument box. Click on R over here. This reverses your sound. Now, go make a pattern for it. Make it a 1/4 note. Remember to place this note on A4. Play the sample. If you feel like the sample gets over too soon, shorten the note. If you feel like the sample is longer but gets cut by the note, extend that note. Now, drag it so that the end of the note is at the end of the bar. And ta-da, you have a short riser. Place it right before the drop. Set it to a low volume. I set it to 30%. Okay, now let's deal with the automation. First, duplicate in the strings automation and just set it to this. Take the frequency knob of a lead supersaw and automate it like so. Place this automation here. A similar story with the other supersaw. But here we use that low pass that we had in the effects chain. That should cover the automation. This automation here is meant to accompany that drum silence. They complement each other and act together to make more tension. And that should be a drop done. Give it a play, see if you like it. Here's what mine sounds like. Okay, the drop is done. Let's make a real quick outro. First of all, duplicate this sidechain pattern one more time. It's a sidechain that reverb and delay as well. Now drag in a VSTis instrument. This is what we use for inserting VSTis. Now unfortunately, I won't be demonstrating DDR Kotelnikov and Superwave P8 in this series. This has happened due to time constraints. However, I'll be using Kotelnikov in my mixing series, so if you're gonna watch that, it's useful. And P8 is in general a useful, underrated plugin. You can use its presets, they're pretty nice. Anyways, enough blabber. Open the VSTis instrument window. Click on this folder icon to pick a VST to load. Find Keyzone Classic, it'll be a file with the .dll extension. Once it's loaded, it'll come up with this GUI. I'll quickly guide you over the plugin. The bottom part is a keyboard. You have the envelope knobs here. There's an inbuilt reverb. This lead knob changes the pitch ever so slightly. Then there's the volume knob, some volume settings and LFO settings. This top part here lets you scroll through the piano types. I'm gonna use Yamaha Grand Piano. You can click close here to close the VST window. I'm used to using this button in the instrument window though. In the instrument window, this icon opens the automatable knobs. Remember when I said you can't control drag knobs from VSTs? This is what I meant. To automate a knob, it has to be present here. Luckily, most VSTs have the knobs here and they are named correct. Keyzone, however, doesn't, so you have to make do with what effects can offer you. Anyways, these buttons here help you navigate presets. Keyzone, again, doesn't have presets. Other VSTs like Superwave P8 usually do. Anyways, we're not going to apply effects or anything. All we're going to do is make this quick outro. I made it using our strings pattern, but I changed it so the notes descend. It serves as a fade out for the song. You don't need to route this to the sidechain, and that should be all. If you followed this tutorial completely, you should have a short track. It may not be a masterpiece, but it is better than many first tracks out of there. Stick around till the end if you want to know how to export and what to do after this series. This is the finale after all, but for the last time, here's the track for you. Alright, exporting. You can hit Ctrl and E to export your track. You greet it with the window to decide where you want to place your file and which audio format you want to use. If you're gonna later use this in another software and improve it, export it as a WAV, or if you're itching to share it with your friends, export it as a small MP3. Next, you'll see some settings. Now, most of this you don't want to touch. You don't want to set stereo mode to stereo though, and for a high quality MP3, set the bitrate to something higher too. If you're on WAV, you won't see these options, so don't worry. Set the interpolation to best. Oversampling breaks some automations, but you can use it if you want. It basically ensures ultra high frequencies don't interfere with your sound. Exporter's loop ends the export as soon as the last element is done playing. An export between loop markers exports well between loop markers. I like to use this to control how much silence will be there after the song, to catch out the reverb and delay after the last element. I've stretched my loop points to cover the song, so I'm going to tick this option. And once you're done, hit start. It'll take its time and export, and then you'll have the file right where you asked for it. And with that, the beatmaking series is over. You can grab a download of this project in the description from my drive. Note that you have to load in the samples yourself. You can do that by clicking on each sample to open its window, clicking on this little folder icon and navigating to the place where you save the samples. The file name will already be written in the name bar, so just find that file and double click on it. Anyways, where do you go from here? Most of the series I've been telling you what to do, but when you get into production, you'll have to do it on your own. If you're coming here from another door and have production experience, or if you have some musical background already, you can probably figure out your way around in a day or two. But if you're totally new to this, you need to learn some music theory. Yes, I know I said that music is about freedom, but knowing music theory saves you time. Instead of guessing what sounds good together, you'd already know what suits what. And that time you would have spent on guesswork, you can spend on sound design or effects or literally anything else. I'll drop some links down in the description. I'm probably gonna make the basic music theory series too, so stay tuned for when it does come out. Now, if you're experienced already, you can tackle some bigger topics. What you can do next is check out some tutorials for mixing. Mixing is basically getting everything to sound good together and not have it interfere with one another. We did a tiny bit with the equalizers, remember? That's a taste of mixing. Again, a mixing series is on my to-do list as well. But for now, I'll link a series in the description, and that marks the end of the series. I hope you learned something from it. If you have questions or feedback, drop it in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I'll probably reply. Good luck on your journey in production. I hope to see you in the next series too. So for now, bye.